Good morning. Welcome back to part 2 of me making my hand-drawn game. If you weren't here for the last time, I would recommend checking out that video below before this one. But for those of you who are too stubborn to go back or just don't remember, I'll give a little recap. In the last video, I decided that I spend way too much time on my laptop. But how was I going to fix that? Then I had an epiphany. What if I make a game where I draw all the art in real life so I'm not on my laptop as much? And here we are now. Last video, I set up the base for this game. You are trying to defend your paper kingdom from the raging fire by placing down towers to spray water on it. Last video, I made the castle, a well, some puddles, a couple rain clouds, and last but not least, a hose. With that, let's get started. First thing I wanted to do right off the bat was get a couple more of the pieces of concept art I drew into the game. There were 4 items that I hadn't coded into the game last time around, so I started working through these. First, I began with the cloud factory. This was a pretty simple concept. The building would spawn a cloud and set it off in a random direction every couple of seconds. Pretty easy peasy. Only a short amount of time coding later and it was all done. Check. Next up, I had an easy break. I was adding in the pump jack. This was, in essence, an upgraded version of the well and took the exact same code, so that one was done almost as soon as it was started. Check. Third on the list was a sprinkler. Anytime someone got close to this tower, it would shoot out water in all directions to stop the fire from advancing. This was another derivative of the base turret, so it wasn't hard to add at all. Check. The final thing that I had to do was probably the hardest. That's why I pushed it to the bottom of the list. But anyways, it was the geyser. I wanted this to act as a mortar of sorts, where it would shoot a ball of water into the sky, then it would come splash down on some innocent fire. This still wasn't that hard, and it was done. Check. Now I was done with my checklist of items. Time to move on. The next thing that I had to work on was a glaring issue that was becoming more and more pressing as I continued to ignore it. This was performance. When first started, the performance wasn't that bad, but this would slowly start dropping in FPS to the point where it was barely playable. This was a pretty important thing that I needed to remedy. To begin with, I opened up the Unity profiler. For any of you who don't know what this is, it's a built-in tool in Unity where you can see what's taking the longest to calculate. And it stood out really quickly that the big culprit of this was physics calculations. Okay, but how do I make physics calculations run quicker? It's not like there's an easy button to make it run quicker or anything like that. Nope, there is. I switched collision mode from continuous to discrete, and boom, now it runs better. The game was playing well at this point, and I was loving how it had turned out, but there was still some work to do. Next up, there were way too many items in the shop on the right of the screen. You couldn't even see all of them on one screen, so let's fix that. I'm just going to split it and put half of it on the left, and boom, problem fixed. Up next, the game just kind of felt meh at that point. The gameplay seemed decent, but there was nothing interesting to look at, so let's spice it up. I wanted to put in some visual feedback for how much health each tower has. Originally, I was just going to have it fade to black, but before I started on that, I decided to take a peek on the Unity Asset Store. And what would you know? I found this shader, Dissolve Edge, and I decided to get it in and check it out in my project. And wow, it was amazing. So I had to put it into the game. Closer it was to death, the more burnt it became. I had to change up some stuff with the shaders and colors because I didn't want it to fade out, I just wanted it to turn black. And soon enough, it was working fabulous. The shader was a huge step forwards, but there was a lot more to do. I added screen shake for a couple of the bullets, animations to make things seem more alive, and some particle systems. Like a lot of particle systems. I added 2 to the fire, one with sparks for ambience, and the second one to go underneath it to look like it was burning the paper background. Amazing. And the final particle system was once a tower was destroyed, it burned down in a puff of smoke. Boom. It was looking really good. All this feedback made the game feel so great, and all the visual candy I did really helped make it so much more engaging. Though the game was looking better, I would still say it was a far way from looking good. The art was kinda in shambles. Half of the stuff you couldn't tell what it was, none of the colors matched, and the menus were just atrocious. Time to head back over to the art side of the game. I had a couple of things I needed to do. First task, redraw the bad art. Let's get started. Okay, I have all the art sketched out, now time to color it. But what with? As I see it, I have 3 options: crayons, colored pencils, and markers. First off, crayons suck, so those are already out of the question. Now just markers or pencils. So I found some markers and pencils and tried them out. I still couldn't decide between them, so I texted my girlfriend and she said markers, so now it's decided. But I also don't really have markers, so time to go steal some from her as well. Okay, let's get coloring. I drew it all out and I absolutely love it. The colors look great and I was so happy that I went with the markers, so let's get them cut out. Time for another time lapse. Okay, I have all the art drawn. Let's put it in the computer. Last time I took a picture of the full sheet at once, but now that they're individually cut out, I wanted to make them higher quality. But I don't want to just shakily hold my phone camera to get pictures of them. Let's see what I figured out. So I made this frame for taking pictures of all the art. So I got all the art and then you put your phone in there and so you can get a repeatable picture, and it's pretty sweet. Made out of Legos. Oh yeah. Okay, from there I used my amazing contraption to take a close-up of every drawing, and despite its jank, it actually worked perfectly. Like, look at how the only difference in these pictures is the drawing. The camera moved none. Phenomenal. Okay, anyways, now I have the pictures. Let's get them cut out and in Photoshop. This is kinda a grind. It's a lot of manual cutting out sprites, but anyways, let's get started. I sure hope you guys like time lapses. Or is... Nope, it's just something on my screen. Anyways. Okay, the art's all cut out. Now it's time to put them into the game. I slowly started to put all the art in one piece at a time, and holy cow, it's looking freaking awesome. I love the aesthetic, and the colors make everything really pop. Well, this was feeling great, but if any of you are paying attention, then you'll notice that some things aren't quite as they should. Let's get them all fixed and in tip-top shape. Most of the things that I needed to fix were all visual stuff, like animations and smaller things to make it look better. This added in way more movement and life to it, and man, I've said this before, but I really think this is awesome. Personally, I'm loving this visual style. The gameplay looked awesome, so great. So the main gameplay was updated and all polished, but the menus needed some work. I got to work and turned those boring, generic, ugly screens into amazing, gorgeous hand-drawn art. Now pretty much all of the art was super consistent. Well, the game looks awesome. I played through a bunch and man, it just feels awesome too. But there was a ton of balance issues. Nothing was priced right and the shop was arranged horribly. Not too hard at all, just a bit of fiddling. I wanted the game to play nice, and making it actually somewhat challenging was exactly what I needed. From there I fixed a couple of bugs, and now we're at its current state. Okay, the game is super fun to play. It's not perfect, and if you beat it, then there's not really any incentive to keep playing it. While making this game, my brother tried it out and had some great ideas for the game in the future. Originally, I was just gonna get the game to this point and stop, but now I'm thinking I might keep working on it in the future. Perfect. An open alpha of Notebook Defenders is now an itch for all of you to play. Link below. As for this challenge as to not be on my laptop as much, well, I'm not sure if it helped the most. If anything, it took me more time to cut out each of the art on the computer than it would have if I just drawn it from scratch to begin with. But oh well, I love the art style regardless. Maybe I'll try something else sometime soon to help me get off my laptop. Overall, this was a ton of fun for me. Like I said earlier, in the beginning this was gonna be done at this point, but I've got ideas swirling around in my head for how I could expand it. That's why I stuck the alpha title on it. I might try and actually release this game somewhere. Maybe try to put on mobile? I'm not sure, but I want to take it somewhere more. But it's on my itch now. The next video probably won't be about this game, but I'm gonna keep it in the back of my mind. Maybe end of this year or so. We'll see. Thanks for the 3 of you who are still watching this for some reason. If you liked this video, then like and subscribe. If you didn't, don't, or whatever. I'm not your mom. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. So I'm trying to take the pictures of all of the art, and the only 2 clouds in the sky are blocking the sun. So now I have to wait for that.